Hello teachers, today I'll be talking about classroom management. To begin with, we're starting with how to foster an intrinsic motivation for behavior and participation. Now this is my 6-point plan. I've tried some of these steps out and I have found some of them to work. Some are new, so I'm going to learn along with you and I'm going to try them with you. The first point is write group or channel contracts. Now, I know that when school started, many of us started our classroom rules. Now, these rules are set and everyone follows them. However, when students move into their separate channels for individual activities, they tend to forget the rules. So my suggestion is that students should sit together and write up and sign a contract. This contract lets them know what the team members expect of them, and that gives them a sense of accountability and responsibility even when they work within the channel. The second step that I look at is for teachers, tone of voice and volume. When speaking to students, exaggerate your expressions because the first thing that connects you to your child or student is what's seen. So if you're excited, showcase your excitement. If you're disappointed with them, let them know through your facial expression that something is not working out for you. Exaggerated emotions help the students connect with you on a personal level. The second thing that I find very important is volume. Now, in many cases where we've had experiences with teachers who tend to talk very loudly, and if the subject or the topic is not very interesting, the students tend to fade out or get distracted. Now, when that happens, we find students tending to talk louder than the teacher just to ensure that their friends hear them. So if you want to make sure that your students keep a focused attention on what you're saying and listen to you, talk at a normal volume. This not only makes it pleasing on the ears, but it also ensures that the children listen or hear or pay attention to understand what you're saying. This curbs their levels of distraction and conversation. The third point that I'd like to talk about is give your children tangible rewards. Now, what I have tried and what I've found works super well, even with grade 10 and 11, is small rewards in the form of stickers of praise, chocolates, or even just acknowledging that they have done well. Trust me, I've tried it. I thought that it might be a little childish. But then again, when I actually tried it, the children came to me and they said, "Miss, can you please read my work? And do I get a star? Do I get a sticker for it?" I was honestly quite amused. Try it. Another thing that I've noticed with some of the kids that like to get a little more friendly with the teachers, especially the boys, a fist bump, a high five, or even just a small thumbs up. That lets them know that you appreciate what they're doing and that you're speaking their language and want to let them know that they're doing a fantastic job. The fourth point, make positive letters and phone calls. Now I know we have been sending parents a lot of emails, but very often we end up sending parents emails only when there is an issue that needs to be addressed. So both the parents and the students start fearing teachers' emails. I think it is better that we, out of the blue, suddenly send parents or call parents and let them know of how their child is doing well in whatever topic you are discussing or doing in class. It not only eliminates the fear of the email received by a teacher, but also lets the child know that they have accomplished something and the teacher's proud of them. No matter what the age, all children love to make their parents proud. Go ahead, try this. You'll be surprised at how well it works. The fifth point is encourage innovation. Now promote a growth or a growing mindset. This comes into play very often when we look at differentiated learning, especially for the gifted children or the over-enthusiastic children. What we can do is we can allow them to work on topics ahead of time. Once they do that, then we can ask them to present or deliver whatever they have learned or their findings or how well it works. This not only motivates them, but it keeps them interested in what they're doing, and it allows for them to give it their best. Kids love to be in the spotlight. Give them a chance and they will flourish. The sixth point is avoid punishing the class. Now, I know we are human too, and very often in trying situations where we are trying to get a lot of work done and we have very little time to do it, our emotions get the better of us. Very often we end up punishing the entire class. But I suggest that we stop punishing the class. We go directly into isolating the child that needs correction or the children that need correction. Because when we punish the entire class, it works against us to a certain extent, because the students that are doing very well and that have maintained their performance also get punished in the bargain. So let's try and look at it differently. Praise those that are doing well and address those that need improvement. Moving along. Now, this is something that I discovered very recently. The question is, what makes a great teacher? Now, these are thoughts through a child's eyes. In one of the TED Talk series, the interviewer actually went around to many kids and he asked the children, what according to you is a good teacher? And their responses were rather different. A great teacher is not a teacher, but is someone who learns with them or is someone who learns from them. So now, instead of what we generally do is we make our lesson plans. We think we are very creative. We think we are very out of the box. But when it comes to executing the plans we've made, we realize sometimes that children find it boring, although they might have seemed or sounded excellent when we were planning them. My suggestion is, when we have a topic in mind, let's tell the kids 1 week in advance that next week we're going to do this topic. And don't just tell them the topic. Ask them, is there any way you'd like to be taught this topic? By doing that, the students feel that they're involved and they look forward to the topic and they look forward to how you're incorporating their ideas in the lesson. This is interesting because it lets the students know that we are willing to try it their way. Another thing that children said was, great teachers make themselves humble in front of their students, which in layman's term just means get out of your comfort zone. Very often, we pose different challenges to the students. We tell them to come up on the spot and possibly speak impromptu, or we tell them to showcase their talent. But very often, we think twice or maybe thrice about doing the same thing. But I think now it is time for us teachers to step out of our comfort zone. Try doing the things that you challenge the kids to do. By doing this, you will not only notice that you have a talent, but you let the children know that you are just like them. You're willing to learn from them, and at the same time, you will not be afraid of trying something new just because you're scared that it might not work out or that you might fail miserably at it. But honestly, the kids don't mind if you're not successful. They're happy that you just tried it with them. To give you more insight on what we can do to become great teachers, I have provided the link in the next slide. Please watch it whenever it is convenient to you. It gave me a lot of insight with regards to how a child perceives us. Come to our last slide. Thank you. And I hope this has helped you. Be yourselves. Be the friend and guide that your students are looking for. Today is a great day. I think it is time to be amazing. Go ahead. Have fun.